That lawnmower, that's that.
I don't want people to get it misconstrued or whatever the case may be. He's a hell of a fighter. Hell of an IQ, great punching power, good speed.
Lamont Roach isn't trash-talking or trying to hype up the rematch. He's honestly concerned and speaking openly about it. After watching recent training footage of Gervonta Davis, Roach admitted something surprising: he wasn't fully prepared for their first fight. He didn't train hard enough, and now he knows that if he wants to win the rematch, he needs to make some serious changes.
Matches that you fought?
0.
What do you have to do to create enough separation where this don't happen again?
Whew, that's a good question. It's going to be based on my training camp.
Most fighters pretend to be confident in public, but Roach didn't do that. He was honest with reporters, saying that Davis is still an amazing fighter and praising his boxing skills. He even admitted that the punch Davis landed in their first fight was the hardest he's ever been hit. Roach didn't make excuses or try to downplay anything, he just spoke the truth. It wasn't just about showing respect, it sounded like he was giving himself a serious reality check.
I have to push myself a little harder if that didn't give me the win.
Roach watched a sharp, focused version of Tank Davis moving through sparring sessions with cold, calculated precision. That's when it hit him: this Davis isn't just trying to win, he's out to punish. Roach knows that if he steps into the ring with the same mindset as last time, he might not make it out the same. This wasn't just a regular training video. The leaked footage from Davis's private camp in Washington, D.C. didn't have flashy moves or dramatic edits. What it showed was something far more intimidating: pure discipline.
And I have room. I definitely have room. I'm not gonna lie, I have room.
You believe you fought the best Gervonta, or do you think he got some more gears?
100% full fact.
Davis is training in the harsh, freezing conditions of the East Coast, weather most fighters avoid. Why? Because he's chasing discomfort and building mental toughness. This isn't for show, it's about pushing through pain and strengthening his mindset. Every second of the leaked footage showed purpose. His footwork was smooth yet aggressive, slicing through the ring with precise angles. His timing was sharp, patient, and calculated. Even when hitting the bag, every punch carried power, nothing flashy, nothing wasted. No showboating. Just pure, controlled violence delivered with intent.
That lawnmower, that's that. Stop that motherfucker.
Analysts say this version of Davis looks like the old Tank, maybe even sharper. But for Roach, the scariest part wasn't what Davis did in the leaked footage, it was what he didn't. There was no cockiness, no laughing, just silence and pure focus. That's the version of Tank Davis who ends careers, and Roach saw it. You could hear it in his voice when he said, "If that training camp didn't get me the win, I know I have to push myself harder." That's not pre-fight hype, it's a man who came close to an upset, and still came up short. This is the same Lamont Roach who shocked the world by going toe-to-toe with Davis and earning a controversial draw. The same fighter who traded blows with one of boxing's most dangerous punchers. And now, he seems to be second-guessing himself. But maybe it's not just Roach who has something to prove. Because while Davis may look sharp, there's been a growing storm of doubt around him ever since that draw. Whispers have become headlines. Some fans say Tank isn't the same anymore, that age is creeping in, that his reflexes are just a little slower, and that the killer instinct, the one that used to make opponents quit before the first bell, might be fading. Then there are the old rumors. The ones boxing insiders have passed around for years. That Davis is a frontrunner. That he looks unbeatable when he's in control, but when the momentum shifts, when he's the one under pressure, he folds. Those whispers started in the amateurs. Roach's camp has heard them. In fact, Roach's own father used to coach Davis. These guys don't just know his fight history, they know his habits, his weaknesses, the stuff that never shows up on a stat sheet. And they've been saying it quietly for years. They say Tank breaks when he's pushed, and after that draw, more people are starting to believe it. Let's be honest, no one expected Roach to survive that first fight, let alone stand toe-to-toe with Davis. But he didn't just survive, he matched Davis's pace, landed clean shots, and controlled major parts of the fight. Now, this rematch isn't just about who looks better on paper. It's about whether Gervonta Davis is still the fighter he claims to be. Fans aren't just tuning in to see a boxing match, they're watching to see if a man can step back into the fire and come out the same. Because what happens when the thing that's always grounded you, your anchor, is suddenly gone? What happens when you're drifting in deep water, and there's no one left to pull you back?
I think he might have some more gears, but I fought the best Gervonta that night. I don't want people to get it misconstrued or whatever the case may be. He's a hell of a fighter.
For Gervonta Tank Davis, that was the reality on fight night. The one person who had always been in his corner, Calvin Ford, was missing. Ford wasn't just Davis's trainer, he was his mentor, motivator, and spiritual compass. His absence wasn't loud or dramatic, but it quietly affected everything. Most fans didn't notice it at first, but it rippled through the fight in ways only those closest to Davis could truly understand. Some trainers give instructions. Calvin Ford gave stability. He knew how to center Davis, how to calm the storm or unleash it when the moment called for it. In his place was veteran coach Barry Hunter, a skilled strategist, but not the same calming presence. At first, the switch seemed like a small detail. But by round 9, it became impossible to ignore. That's when Davis did something no one saw coming. He took a knee. No punch landed. No slip. Just Tank, down on one knee. The referee looked confused. Fans were stunned. And the whispers started immediately. Was it exhaustion? A mistake? Or had the pressure finally started to crack him?
The decision of training DC because, I haven't been in the coldness in a minute. I haven't even trained in the coldness in a minute, so I feel though this will help me. I'm from Baltimore. He's not from DC. That's what I learned. I thought he was from DC too.
Insiders like Henry Garcia weighed in, saying Tank just wasn't mentally locked in that night. Maybe it was personal issues, maybe the sudden change in his training camp threw him off, but whatever the reason, Davis didn't look like himself. And in boxing, that split second of doubt, that tiny lapse in focus, can turn even giants into ghosts. Now, heading into the rematch, all eyes are on one question: will Tank bring Calvin Ford back into his corner? Because if he doesn't, the message is clear: either he's outgrown the need for his longtime mentor, or he's heading into battle without his shield.
Hell of an IQ, great punching power, good speed, and a really good boxing ability. A lot of people underrate that.
But just as critics were circling and fans were debating, a different kind of distraction came out of nowhere. Right when things seemed to calm down, Davis's own hairstylist sparked another fire. What should have been a small, forgotten detail turned into an unexpected PR nightmare. After the fight, Tank's hairstylist went on social media to defend herself without being asked. She shared screenshots, photos, and long posts explaining that the braids she did before the fight had no oil, grease, or anything that could have irritated Davis's eyes and caused that famous knee. But here's the twist: no one was blaming her in the first place. The internet hadn't even noticed the hairstyle yet. Suddenly, she was giving interviews, turning the quiet speculation into a full-blown spectacle. She said she was being blamed behind the scenes, but fans didn't buy it. Some accused her of trying to get attention, while others said she did more harm than good for Davis. In a sport where image matters a lot, where legends are made on mystique and toughness, this strange side drama chipped away at Davis's armor. In just 1 week, the story changed from "was it a draw?" to "is Davis falling apart?" Suddenly, Tank's fight with Roach was about more than just revenge. It was about controlling his story, his brand, and his future. But by then, it was too late. The public had already made up their minds.
No way you could say Tank won. There's no way.
Do you think that he's diminished in some way, or do you think that just mentally he just wasn't there for the fight?
Well, a little bit of both. His age is catching up to him. His legs aren't there as he used to be. And, he switched his trainer, that's could be another factor.
Before the fight, everyone wanted to be around Gervonta Davis. He wasn't just the favorite going into that first match, he was the big name, the pay-per-view star, the one people believed would lead boxing into the next era. For a while, it felt like that was true. The media loved him, reporters laughed at his jokes, showed up at his training camps, and shared every clip. He was more than just a fighter, he was a brand. But when the final bell rang and the fight was declared a draw, everything changed, and fast. Suddenly, critics came out of hiding. The same people who had praised him began picking apart his footwork, questioning his power, and calling him overrated. Even the famous moment when he took a knee, something that had nothing to do with his opponent, was thrown back at him like a mark of shame. Some analysts said it should have been counted as a knockdown. Some fans claimed the fight was rigged. Others outright said Roach deserved the win and accused Davis of being protected. All the while, Davis stayed silent. Maybe he didn't know how to respond. Maybe he was just listening. But now, that silence is over. This rematch isn't just another fight, it's a test. Lamont Roach doesn't just want to beat Tank. He wants to prove that the first fight's result wasn't a fluke. He wants the world to see that he belongs with boxing's best, fighters like Sugar Stevenson, Keshan Davis, Devin Haney, and Ryan Garcia. He wants validation. But Gervonta Davis isn't fighting for validation. He's fighting for vindication. Everything he's built, his legacy, his reputation, his mystique, is on the line. Because if he loses now, all the doubts become facts, all the what-ifs turn into truths. He's not just fighting Lamont Roach, he's fighting doubt, betrayal, and silence. One man is hungry for respect. The other is fighting like he has nothing left to lose.
With Barry Hunter being the head trainer and Coach Calvin being outside.
Yeah, but he snapped at Calvin too, so that's, there was something going on. I really don't know, and I couldn't really speculate on that because I don't know, but I know that something was bothering Tank.
So, what do you think? Is this the end of Gervonta Davis's reign, or will this be the moment he shows everyone why he was so feared to begin with? Will Roach rise up, or will Tank come back with a vengeance? Drop your predictions in the comments below. And if you want more stories they're not sharing on TV, hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more receipts coming your way. Until next time, peace. Victory Hand.